Once upon a time, a woman grew up in a sexually repressed, greed-based world. She tried to make the best of it, as she believed in love, both romantically and as a force of universal healing. But barbaric worlds pay no mind to idealism and integrity, so like every other lover of love, she found herself kicked in the teeth, time and again. And romance, it came and went over and over, leaving in its wake a trail of betrayal, recrimination, and lost friendship. Her high standards and sober approach to life meant that as time went on, she spent far more nights alone than in a lover's arms. In her lonely moments, she consoled herself with a dream of her mirror opposite, but not in the way you might think. It wasn't a fantasy of her intellectual, emotional match to whom her sad thoughts turned, but her numerical doppelganger in the game of love. Well, she loathed the game, of course, how it's pounded into every child's head that to win in love and life is to catch the most attractive member of the opposite sex as one can. A game in which all contestants understand that everyone, including themselves, is a commodity, to be sought or rejected. Each and every person a simple combination of surface qualities: beauty, wealth, status, age, intellect, charm, vigor. Swirl all these together, and in any room you'll enter, there will be a most attractive person, a least attractive person, and everyone in between. As if the edict, be attractive or die, sometimes literally, weren't enough, one's ability to keep an attractive mate was also a factor in one's attractiveness, which created a world in which winning was valued beyond all. So, as the years went by, her growing cynicism made her dream more and more of her opposite. She reasoned that if you took the game's rules to their logical extreme and had one single room large enough to fit 8 billion humans, the pecking order would soon sort itself out, and there would be a consensus most attractive and a consensus 4 billionth most attractive and an 8 billionth most attractive. She pondered her own ranking, and when she came up with a number, she imagined the man who held that same number. She thought about what he might be doing at that very moment. Where did he live? Of what did he dream? Was he in a happy relationship, a torturous one, or none at all? Did he have babies, enemies, trophies, tumors? Was he 80 or a callow teen? Across town or on the other side of the world? She was fully aware that their identical rankings meant nothing in terms of likely compatibility, but she dreamed of being with him and just talking about life, death, and stolen moments of joy in a sea of sifting sadness. She knew that any connection they might make was purely tenuous, for as often as not, two people of the same ranking were headed in opposite directions on the list. And even if they were headed the same way, they were most surely never moving at the same speed. Her mirror would always soon be gone, often in a matter of minutes. She imagined that the longest she had ever shared a ranking with the same man was a full 3 days and 14 hours. A minor statistical miracle which merited many extra deep fantasies. She thought about how the differences between, real or imagined, between men and women affected their rankings over the course of a life. She thought about those who are able to keep a ridiculously high ranking decade after decade, for reasons having nothing to do with merit. She also thought about those who would never crack the top 3 billion, even on their best day. She thought about the choices we all make that affect our worth in the world's eyes. She thought about the rewards of wealth hoarding and cutthroat competitiveness, and how our public condemnations of such qualities was history's hollowest lip service. She thought about those who try to cheat the system with plastic surgery, how they must measure a probable improvement in beauty against the knowledge that their character value would drop. A balance that still favored the cheaters, of course, but for how long? As women slowly became more than men's slaves, and humanity slowly, painfully finds the truer, better path. She would always remember the day her own number stopped ascending. She was 27 years old, and on the previous day had been the 1,004,971,108th most attractive woman in the world. But now she was number 1,004,971,113. It wasn't the most precipitous one-day drop she would ever take. No, that would come 2.5 years later. A one-day drop of 173,528 spots. The day she got herpes. But that 5-spot drop was the one she would always remember. Her ranking the day before, 1,004,971,108, knowing that now she would never sip the sweet tea of the top billion. She brought the remaining stuffed animals from her childhood out of storage and held a tea party to commemorate the moment. She had to keep telling her fluffy friends that it wasn't a funeral, and to stop looking so forlorn. This change would be good for her character and her empathy. Foofles the bunny looked back with glassy eyes. The end.